Hey you guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Christina, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you something new that we've been using in our homeschool just in the last couple of weeks. So I talked to you guys recently in a video all about my initial homeschool planning for next year, and I talked a lot about how I just kind of have some rough plans, sort of goals and priorities that I'm going to filter everything through as I plan out my year for next year. And I recently came across something that really fit those things. At the same time that I was talking to you guys about homeschool curriculum choices and planning, I also mentioned my desire to not be really curriculum heavy. As we move forward, we've been really embracing a lot of unschooling approaches and literature-based homeschooling and things like that. And so as I saw this come up and I got excited, I also made sure to take my own advice and look at what my priorities were for our home and our homeschool and seeing if this fits. And this really does. And so if you've been following me over on Instagram, you've probably seen me talking about it and using the things with my children. So I will be talking to you about what we've been doing new. I'm also going to try to touch on a couple of questions that I got when I asked you guys over on Instagram, video requests and questions that you guys might have. I had a few questions come up about how do I use bundles as main curriculum, because I've mentioned a few times that I've been moving more towards using units from the mega bundles that I participate in, and also how do I store and organize all of these things. So I'll try to touch on those things as well after I share with you what we've been using that's new. So if you're familiar with For the Love of Homeschooling, they put out amazing printables. They host one of the main mega bundles that I participate in, and they also hosted the virtual homeschool conference that I participated in as well. And so something brand new from them that they asked me to try out and I have been loving is the Nature Study Club. This is brand new. It just launched in the last couple of weeks, and right now it is in the free trial phase. So I've been sharing it on Instagram, like I said, but I wanted to make sure to get on here and share with those of you that might not be on Instagram so that you had the opportunity to participate in it as well. It is a free trial, and so I'll give you a little bit of what you can expect both from the Nature Study Club and then also the free trial and how we've been using it in our home. So first and foremost, the Nature Study Club is a topic a month about a nature study topic. And so for May, it's nesting birds. And I was really excited because at first I was like, we already studied birds. We love birds. I wouldn't really choose to study this again. However, as I started thinking about it, it was our very first homeschool unit study that we ever did. We did North American birds from Gather Round Homeschool, which I still love Gather Round, and we will still be using it in our home. So stay tuned for more on that in the future. But I was like, you know what a great way to review and then also build upon that learning instead of just staying there to what we learned a few years ago. And so I was really excited to jump into this, and here's what I love so far about it. You get everything that you need for all of your children. So you know how much I love exploring nature with children. I still love it. I still think it's a great value. We are still currently using it and plan to use it in the future. That is a topic, a nature study topic a week. And there is everything that you need in there, but it doesn't come with the printables and the visually appealing materials, even though that's not a necessity. It comes with very in-depth, wonderful information and book lists and poetry and art to look up and all of that. Love it, love it, love it. This is a little bit different. It's similar, but a little bit different in the sense that you dive deeper and you do it for a month. And then on top of that, it comes along with all of the printables and the things that you would need. And so it comes with flashcards and Montessori 3-part cards. It comes with posters of each of the things that you'll be studying throughout the month related to that topic. There are 5 different games, I think. I just printed them all out and I'll show them to you because I plan to do the games with my kids this week or start on the games this week. There are links, there's art, and the best part about it is there's a really user-friendly teacher's guide that gives you weekly and daily plans, everything that you need to run the lessons. There's no looking things up that you have to do, no research you have to do, no books that you have to get, none of that. It's all included in the Nature Study Club materials that get sent to you with your free trial or when you sign up. And it's only $12 a month. So even without the free trial, Wait until you hear everything that's in here, guys, because it's amazing. So you get all of the flashcards, all of the posters, so you can see, like, I'll give you a close-up, I'll pop a close-up, but I have like our flashcards up there with the different types of birds and nests and eggs and scientific classifications and all of those things. Also the posters I pop up for each lesson, what we're focusing on that lesson. And then on top of that, this is what I love that kind of reminds me of Gather Round in a similar way, is that there are student workbooks for each age level. There are 4 different levels. So like there's a 3 to 5 year old, 6 to 8, 9 to 11, and then 12 and up. So one for each of my children, other than my 2-year-old who, you know, she's just going to play and stuff while we do it. But it has been working beautifully. They have workbook pages that they do every day. And I don't like to say workbook because it's much more hands-on and engaging. There was last week a watercolor tutorial where they painted a cup nest and followed along with that tutorial. We learned about citizen science, like what it is to be a citizen scientist last week. And then we participated in the Global Big Day, which was just going bird watching and recording our findings. We had so much fun doing that. It's just been amazing, you guys. It's such a great way if you have wanted to jump into nature study, but you feel overwhelmed where to start and you don't like having to pull together and gather different materials. Everything is included in the Nature Study Club. Everything is included. And it's really, really cool because other families will be following along day by day with the same unit. And so that's not to say that you have to stay on that particular day at all. You can move at your own pace. It could take you 2 months. It could take you 2 weeks. However it works for you, but it's set up to be about 4 days a week with like an activity more on the 5th day. And it's just been so much fun. So if you have been wanting to jump into nature study, or maybe you've been doing nature study for a while and you just want to switch it up, or if you just want something that maybe you want to do over the summer, like you don't want to completely not do any school, but you don't want to do your regular curriculum, or you're not going to start like your year-long curriculum that you usually do, this is really, really great. Like my older 2 boys had to create a Nest Realty business card, and they have to create like an advertisement for each different type of nest to demonstrate their learning. So there's really fun things, but it's still rich, engaging learning taking place. So I really love it because it's not like fluff or just fun activities. They're learning a lot, but they're doing it in a really fun and engaging way. They loved it. We did the watercolor outside. I just put the laptop on our table out on the back deck and played the tutorial for them, and they did watercolor, and they've just been loving it and really looking forward to it. And I look forward to continue. But let me show you like a little bit of it. It's so beautiful. If you're familiar with any of the resources that get put out by For the Love of Homeschooling, you know how well put together everything is. And there are always freebies on the website as well. So I'm gonna link the For the Love of Homeschooling website down below, and that's where you can start your free trial or even just subscribe to the Nature Study Club. You can check out the freebies. There's also you can still purchase the virtual homeschool conference to see myself, and I think it was like 40 other different speakers on all different topics. But anyways, I did not cut them out yet, but like there's a bird ID game and a nest ID game, and so each player gets one of these and then chooses one of the cards, and then you have to like guess using like hints from one another which nest or bird they have. So there's 2 different games you can play that same way, the bird nest ID and the bird ID. Then there is this trivia game, which looks so fun, especially to do with my older kids. It almost reminds me of the, what is it, Professor Noggin games. We have a bird one for that from when we did North American Birds. So I can't wait to try this out. Obviously I still need to cut everything out, but there are like a few pages of these, and then even the back is super cute. So multiple games. There's a memory game. So for younger kids, there's a bingo game that I did print that I can show you. So here's the little bingo cards. So I'm really excited. I have been wanting to implement more game schooling or just games into our homeschool. So I love when things are included and put together this way. I'm so much more likely to do it. So I'm really excited. Here's an example of what one of the scientific classification cards looks like, because again, my older boys, one of the things that they're doing each day, well, not every single day, but on some of the days as they're doing the scientific classification, I'll show you what that looks like in their packets. So it looks like this. They do a sketch and then they do the scientific classification, and then they have to write a quick description there. Here's an example of what the posters look like. So all different types of nests, they all have their own poster page. Here's like the bird anatomy poster I happen to just do on the back. And so I just printed these packets out weekly, but you could totally print out the whole month, bind them, and have it be like their nature study book for the month. But here's the Expert Explorer. And I did put the Senior Explorer cover on this, and then decided that I wanted my 10-year-old to do the same stuff as my 14-year-old so that they could work together. And I thought he'd really enjoy like the Nest Realty listings and stuff like that because he's super artistic. So it says Senior Explorer, but I actually have him doing the same activities as my 14-year-old. So let me show you what I basically do with those little packets is I put them on a clipboard so that we can just like bring everybody's clipboards outside if we're going outside, or if we're gonna go somewhere else and do school for the day, or at least our bird lesson for the day. They have their clipboard, which the packets aren't on their clipboards because the last thing that we did was we went and did the Global Big Day. And then what I also did for my 3 youngest kids is I put the bird nesting materials scavenger hunt on the clipboard for them to just give them an extra thing to do while we were walking to get them excited when they found these things. So what I'll do, because I still haven't printed them out for this week, as of when I'm filming this, by the time you see this, we'll already be doing it, but I'll print them out for the week, and then I'll put them on their clipboards for them with a little pencil, and then they're ready to go for the week for these lessons. And then I also do the same thing for myself. I'll put, like I was writing down our birds that we found there, but I will use this clipboard for my teacher's guide, and I'll do it the same way. I'll have a pencil, and that's all we need in order to do our lessons. So I know I threw a lot at you about this, but I'm super excited about this. I feel like this is an awesome thing, like this monthly idea. Like I said, I still love exploring nature with children. We'll still do that. We are still doing it. We're doing garden ants this week, and then next week is butterfly week, and I'm so excited because I'm sure our butterflies are ready to hatch any day now. So by the time you see this, maybe they've hatched. I don't know. Anyways, this gives you an opportunity to study something for longer than the week, which obviously you can still do with Exploring Nature with Children, but not if you're trying to necessarily keep up with each week in there. Okay, so tips for how you use bundles as main curriculum. This will vary depending on the ages of your kids, your homeschool style, your priorities, your goals, your homeschool philosophy, your educational philosophy, all of the things. So I'm going to talk about this, I'm sure, more in the future as I move more towards that style of learning and homeschooling. But I will say this. So for different age kids, it might look different. So for younger kids, I think that bundles are more than sufficient to be their main curriculum, especially if you are not really stuck on the mindset of needing to teach things in a super linear way and a super traditional way, or even like specifically how public schools teach things each year sort of thing. And so there, especially for the younger kids, there is plenty of math and literacy and science and all of the things that you would need to teach a young learner. Definitely preschool, definitely kindergarten, definitely early elementary. Possibly, I know for me, I'm not as confident in teaching math. So for me, the older they get, the more I feel the necessity to have a solid math curriculum. So I'm not against curriculum in any way. I'm not like saying you shouldn't use curriculum. I'm saying you should totally use whatever works for your family. So I'm just sharing sort of my perspective, which is the older they get, the more that I want them to have a math curriculum. But also I believe in more free learning and learning through play and fun activities for younger kids. And then even for older kids, there's a bird outside my window. Okay, I think it's just a house sparrow. Anyways, so as far as bundles go, for me, the younger they are, the easier it is to use it as your full curriculum. I will say for my older kids, I don't think it would be enough writing or enough math. For example, for my 10-year-old, I would still have him using a math curriculum, something like The Good and the Beautiful, or teaching textbooks. We haven't decided on his yet. If The Good and the Beautiful gets their 6th grade math curriculum released before the school year starts, we definitely plan to try that. But if not, we may try teaching textbooks. So total side note on that. But for example, he would have his main math curriculum. He would have a little bit more work in language arts, but I feel totally confident that using bundles for history and science, depending on what the theme of the bundle is, would be more than sufficient. And then pretty much the same that I just said for my 14-year-old. That is my opinion and kind of how I view homeschooling, not needing to have a specific curriculum for each subject and each grade level. So for example, let me give you an example of what that would look like. So my 14-year-old is currently doing Saxon math with Nicole, the math lady, and he is doing, at this point in the year, he's doing book studies. And then outside of that, at this point, we are doing nature study and some history, but not in a linear history fashion. So we're finishing up studying the US Constitution and government, and we are currently doing the endurance unit, which is about Ernest Shackleton's Antarctic expedition, which I got from the Wild Explorers Journal. And so that was a unit that I got from a bundle. I'm doing it with my 10 and 14-year-olds, and that is really our history that we're doing right now. And then our nature study through this nature study club and exploring nature with children, that is how we are doing science right now. A lot of the printables that I pull in when I do exploring nature with children come from bundles and books. So I definitely think that you can do most of your main curriculum through bundles, depending on how you view education and what your educational philosophy is for your kids. Hopefully that helps. As far as organization goes, I do not have that all figured out. My goal continues to be, which I've shared a while back, to have really organized file boxes in my basement for things that I'll be storing away long term. So for example, when we finish this bird unit, I'm not going to keep all of the flashcards and posters at the ready. I will file those away for another time when we want to revisit studying birds. And for example, the things that we're doing this week with Garden Ant Week and Exploring Nature with Children, we're not going to revisit garden ants until next year, or maybe even the year after if we skip Garden Ant Week next year. So those things will get filed away where I won't really need to access them. Things like flashcards are things that we might be revisiting throughout the season or throughout the year. Things that aren't really specific to a nature study, a weekly nature study topic, I keep in my playroom. In the homeschool closet, I have an over-the-door shoe organizer that's clear, and I'll just put the cards in a little baggie and kind of put them in that way. I've seen some really great organizational systems, especially with flashcards, people using like those little plastic containers and then putting them in like a bigger container. So I do not have it all figured out. Some things I will hole punch and put on one of those little metal book rings. So just to give you a little bit of an idea of how I'm organizing things and the goals that I'm moving towards for organizing things, I also don't think you need to keep everything. Although I don't like to print a ton of stuff and then be wasteful and throw it out, I don't think you need to keep everything either, especially if you don't think you're going to use it again. So hopefully that helps and gives you a little bit of an idea of how I store things. Let me know down below if you have any questions. If you've been trying this out because you saw it over on Instagram, let me know how you're liking it. Everything is linked down in the description box below. I would love to hear if you try it out, how you like it. If you're not already following me over on Instagram, definitely come follow me over there at rooted_homelife. You'll see more day-to-day updates and things that we're doing over here. And I always love to meet you guys. So if you are new, please introduce yourself down in the comments below. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, I would love if you would subscribe. I share all things homeschool, curriculum, motherhood, big family life, faith. So definitely love for you to stick around for all of that. I hope to see you soon in one of my next videos. And until next time, stay rooted.